Welcome back. Yes, this time we want to talk about creating and keeping wealth in a tough economy. And we have an expert in the house. We have engineer Onosoya Abayomi. He is the global director, African House. Please join us as we welcome him. Good morning once again.
Good morning.
Good morning. You're welcome.
You're welcome.
See you again.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You know, anytime you're around, you're always giving us divine ideas. You make money.
We call it
Divine ideas, yes.
And see today's on creating and keeping wealth in tough economy.
Yeah.
Wow. So when we say creating and keeping wealth, I think we should divide it into two. Let's talk about creating first before we talk about how to keep it. So how do we create wealth in this tough economy?
Wow. Well, first of all, I'll say good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, Abuja.
Good morning.
And God bless our wonderful country, Nigeria.
Amen.
And see, in order for us to do justice to this topic, we need to know what the status quo is. And we all know that we live in a tough economy, that even the rich, are complaining.
The rich also cry.
Exactly. There are very, very wealthy people who are now having to adjust, and while this is happening, there's a lot of pressure on people financially. And what comes to mind is, how do I earn more money? How do I make sure my money is not losing value?
Yeah.
You see, and unfortunately, because of this pressure of making money, different schemes, different scams, different things come up on board, and then people lose money. People start, losing their hard-earned savings. And the question is, okay, let's assume an individual now has money in his account. What does that person do with this money? Do I just leave it in the bank account? Do I start a business? So all these questions come to the forefront. And if you're not careful, you'll make a lot of mistake, and it's really sad because a lot of people are making mistakes. So having understood that there's a problem, now we start looking at what are the solutions. And you discover that somebody will tell you that, okay, fine, I'm a retiree, I've gotten my gratuity, maybe 10, 20 million naira. What do I do with this 20 million naira? Okay, so that I don't lose this 20 million. But unfortunately, people will start giving you ideas. Somebody say, let's go and do pure water business.
Yeah.
Let's go and do guguru business. Let's go and do kuli business. And the guy exactly, the guy will just jump into the business, and then poof, before you know it, he's lost a lot of money without understanding all these things. So this is a topic that is very, very important, and I'm happy we're doing this today on NTA, because we always need the pace. Everybody follows NTA, NTA 5, Abuja, we're doing fantastic. So the question is, what do you do with money? How do you survive this ash economy? And the truth is, we need to start letting each other know that this type of businesses are high risk. These ones are low risk. These ones are medium risk. Let me use a simple example. What comes to mind first is that, okay, I have money. Do I go and buy the dollar? In fact, I have a couple of friends who will say, okay, fine, I have my money, I'm afraid I don't want to lose my money. Let me just go and buy dollar and hide it under my carpet, and then as the dollar appreciates, I'll go and sell it. But what people don't actually know is that the things you bought for 500 naira today,
Yes.
you cannot buy it for 500 naira tomorrow or 2 weeks or whatever. And I'll use one of my friends as an example. The guy was traveling, and then he said, okay, you know what? I'm going to change all my money to dollars. So what did he do? He withdrew all his money, God knows how many millions, and then he bought dollars, and then he traveled. And when he bought the dollar, he bought it for 600 and something naira, that time. And then when he came back, of course, dollar now is about 1,500 or 1,400 naira, right? And then he said, oh, I've made money. I see my money has appreciated. And I said, okay, hold on. The things you were buying for 500 naira that time, can you still buy it for 500? I said, no. What you've just done is currency speculation. You bought the money, kept it in dollar, you waited, and now the like sausage that we used to buy for 700 naira, now it's 2,800 naira today, within 12 months. Yes. So that money you think you've gained, your money has actually lost value. That is the reality. So we need to start teaching each other what are safe investments, what are things you should avoid. You hear so many scams. People will tell you something will say, I'm not saying Bitcoin is bad, don't get me wrong. Some people say Bitcoin mining, or somebody say, go and do MMM, and like some people say, go and do different things. So we need to be careful as a people not to rush into some of these things so we don't lose our hard hand money.
Okay.
And yes.
Okay, let's look at strategies for creating wealth, especially in this period of economic uncertainty.
All right, strategies. Well, what we've done as Africa House is that we've identified certain sectors that we believe are bulletproof. When I say bulletproof means, you won't, lose money or you won't burn your fingers. What do I mean by this? And the secret to all of this is put your money into production. Your money must go into production. What that basically means is your money is working for you. The money isn't into a process that has value to something, and in the end, it comes out with a final product. Let's assume somebody has 2 million, for example, and the guy puts his money into maybe a business that manufactures ice cream, for example. Okay, this 2 million goes into ice cream manufacturing. And then at the end of the day, you have a product on ground. Even if the price of sugar goes up, the price of milk goes up, the price will self-adjust itself. You get my point? So if it was supposed to make 2.5 million sales, but because inflation has come into play now he will make 3 million or even 4 million because he or she has to increase the price accordingly. So don't fall into the trap of keeping your money somewhere. Let me just keep it in the bank, put it in fixed deposit, or let me go and buy dollar, or let me go and buy something and what, and then the money appreciate. No, you shouldn't do that.
Definitely.
Always make sure your money is moving. Your money is into a production process. Does that mean you must open a factory? No, not necessarily. Not everybody has the backbone to do this, given the fact that we have so many encumbrances around us. So, what are some of the strategies that you asked? One of the sectors that we believe that you can make money from or that will help you grow your wealth or create wealth, in fact, is farming. What do I mean by farming? I'm not talking about farming on 1 acre, 2 plots, no. The reality of agriculture of today is this. In order for you to make tangible profit or to be able to grow your wealth, you must do farming or agriculture on nothing less than 10 hectares minimum. You see, which basically makes you a large-scale farmer. So don't do small-scale farming and think you're going to make $1 billion in next week. No, it doesn't work that way. So we as Africans, if we're going to do farming, all of us must pivot from subsistence farming into farming that actually has something for you and excess you can sell. Take cassava, for example. Many people don't know that there's a lot of money in cassava. Do you know how much they sell of mudu of gari today? One mudu of gari. One mudu of gari is maybe 1,000, 2,000, right?
Yes.
Exactly. Something we used to buy for 300, 400 naira. So cassava farmers, so people who have grown cassava now, they've become rich. You see, so there's huge demand for cassava now because people no longer can afford rice and all those expensive foods. So people are moving down all the way to gari. So if you're producing cassava on a large scale, minimum 10 hectares, you make very good money. And when I say farming, don't make the mistake of saying, okay, let me just grow anything that I see. No, you must be strategic. Cassava is one of the products you can grow. Maize is one of the things you can never lose money on. You see, grow maize on 10 hectares plus, you will definitely make money. Grow soybean because these are major components that we use a lot in our food value chain in Nigeria. So with all these 3 components, and there's so many of them, by the way, but we won't have time to talk about all of them, you can make money from agriculture on that scale. So now the question is, okay, what about insecurity? Yes, this is where one has to be careful. Don't say, okay, because I heard an NTA final, let me go and buy land, let me go. No. Before you decide
farming cassava.
Exactly. Before you start farming cassava, look at the security situation in the area you find yourself. When you know the area is safe, that you know that you have no issue of rustling and whatnot, people coming accessible, then please go ahead and do it. That's one sector that you can make money from. Another sector that people do not know is poultry. We've heard a lot of stories about poultry that poultry is not profitable. Yes, it's not profitable if you do it in the wrong way. The mistake people make is this. They stay in one side of the poultry business value chain and they let others take care of their other sector. What do I mean by this? Somebody says, okay, I'm a retiree, I have 10 million, 20 million. He sets up a poultry of maybe 5,000 birds, okay? Now the broiler chickens, now they are mature at maybe 8 weeks, 9 weeks, and he or she wants to sell. What does the person do? What does she do? He calls on the guy, the middleman, who comes to buy from you. But what you do not know is that you won't sell at premium. He or she will buy at the lowest possible price from you. So he will now take it and then sell to the final consumer. So how do you make money from poultry? Simple. Number one, ensure that you are in the business of poultry from A to Z. This is a truth many people do not know. And please note this down, watch this segment. Number one, Or shall we go on a break before?
We are
Exactly.
going to, it's like I and Cynthia, we are your students. You are now our teachers.
Exactly.
So we'll come back
Exactly.
for you to continue what you're saying.
Fantastic.
Yes, we have been talking about how to create and keep wealth. Very, very important. Now let's go on this quick break. When we come back, we'll still be here to talk about it. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, and the program is still Good Morning Abuja. If you just tune in, we are talking about how to create and keep wealth. And our resource person is still with us. Yes, before we went on the break, you were trying to talk to us on how we can do the right business and not to keep our money. We should keep our money going in a productive business.
Exactly.
Production that is ongoing. So take it off from there.
All right. So I was talking about poultry. That where many people fail in poultry businesses, they stay on one side of the value chain and they let others handle the rest. You will never make good money. Yes, you make money, but not as much as you should make. You will not become a billionaire by doing only one segment. I was going to use an example of, let's say, a retiree who has 10 million, who has a 5,000 bird capacity poultry. He or she buys poultry feed, feeds the birds, takes care of them, buys medicine, and at the end of the day, the middleman comes, oh, I want to sell 5,000 birds. Who's going to buy? So he or she is nervous because if he or she doesn't sell within a certain period of time, those extra days that you are feeding the chicken becomes a loss. Everybody that does poultry will know this. Once they reach that weight that they are looking for, if you don't sell them off at them within those 2-3 days, anything else that you feed the chicken is a loss. You're basically going to lose money. So you're under pressure to sell it quick. So, and I said to make money in poultry, Nigerians, please listen to this. You must do it A to Z. What do I mean by that? Number one, you must grow your feed. You will never become very, very wealthy from poultry business if you do not grow your feed. Number one, because you will be tossed around by economic forces. Today you buy the feed that we used to buy 6,000-7,000 last year or the year before. I think it's 19,000-21,000 now.
Wow.
So basically, you have no choice. You have to buy at whatever the market dictates. And what are the components of poultry feed? Corn, soya, and maybe granite, for fat and all that. So these are the two major components. So in order for you to be a wealthy poultry operator, number one, you need to find a way to cultivate, to grow your maize, grow your soybean. And once you grow your soybean, you harvest, you process. The formula is out in the open. It's no longer a secret. Just Google it, you find how to formulate your feed. Even the machines to make it into pellets, you can buy for 200,000, 300,000, 400,000, 500,000. Even the sell it is available. So that's number one. Growing your feed. Now you have a source of feed, so you don't depend on the dollar for the price of your feed. That's number one. Now you have your birds, okay? Maybe you don't have the money to set up your hatchery, fine. You can still buy the day-old chicks for 400, 500, 600, depending on the time of the year. You buy, and then you start feeding your birds. After your birds reach maturity, don't make the mistake of looking for people to come and buy your poultry. Slaughter your chicken by yourself. Slaughter them, freeze them by yourself.
What if you don't have a freezer?
No, you get a freezer.
Yes,
It's part of the strategy. Yes.
For some starters, yes.
Slaughter your chickens, freeze your chicken, sell it to the final consumer.
Wow. Not to the middleman.
No, because if you do that, the middlemen, I'm sorry to say here, the middlemen are the ones killing the poultry business in Nigeria. I know from personal experience and from practical experience, you will do all the sweat, you will do everything, you calculate your cost. The cost per bird maybe will be around 2,007, 3,000 if you're unlucky. And then the middleman will come and say, I want to buy for 2,009. You discover sometimes you'll be making only 100 naira, 200 naira per bird. And you begin to wonder, why am I going through all this stress? And this same bird.
Sorry. Sorry.
Shall I continue? No problem. So that's why I pause so you can have it. So now you're making 100, 200 naira per bird. And you begin to wonder, is it even worth my time? Then the guy who buys from you at 2,900 will have a cold room shop in Kubwa, in Maitama, and he'll be selling for 4,500 per kilo. That's what I'm trying to say. So my point is, to make good money in poultry, you must do A to Z. You raise the birds, you grow your feed, you raise them, you slaughter them, you have a shop, a retail outlet where people come to buy from you per kilo.
Wow. That's what
I'm telling you. So that way, per bird, you are making at least 1,500 to 2,000 naira per bird. That's the minimum. Now imagine you have 5,000 birds. But if you in that a sector where let me just sell it off, they are mature now. Let me look for a broker to buy. The guy will say, "Madam, I'll buy, no problem, but I can only pay you 3,000. Take it or leave it." And you're under pressure.
Is what is happening.
Exactly.
Wow.
So
And you
that's
end
the
up
secret.
not making
You will not make a
anything from
penny.
all-
Trust me. That's why people get frustrated.
Okay, this one is leading me to this next question.
All right.
Now, because the question is usually around for starters. Everyone wants to go into business.
Yes.
I want to go into business. Cynthia wants to
Yes.
go into business. Now, tell us what are those common key mistakes that we are not supposed to do if we want to go into business?
Yes, one of the mistakes, and I'll link it to this chicken thing I'm talking, is that everybody wants to become a big man overnight. You know, we in Africa, you know, I'm a businessman. I want people to know I have arrived. The truth in business, there's nothing like you have arrived. You must go through all the bad boosts, like they say, before you finally become become that big man. So what is the solution? Start where you can start. Start small. Let God help you to grow fast, and then you reach there. So now all this A to Z that I said, who says you must start your poultry with 5,000 birds? Who says you must start with 1,000? Says who? But we have that mentality behind us. So I saw a friend of mine, he has a poultry of 50,000 birds. I have to compete. So he or she will make the mistake, go and even borrow money from the bank and start buy the infrastructure for 50,000 birds. And you now start thinking, oh my God, how do I feed these birds? I have a friend, one of the good mentors and friend, I'll call him, one of my big advance. He has a poultry where he pays more than 30, 40 million every month for feed.
Wow.
Just to feed the birds. If you don't feed them, you're in trouble. The birds will simply die or they stop producing. So what does he do? So what is my point now? Start where you can. If your capacity is only 100 birds, start with 100 birds and make sure you can and your number of birds will be determined by the land you have access to. Maybe you have access to only 2 hectares of land. Grow the feed for those 500 birds. Grow the soil, grow the maize. So understand that concept. And you know that now every 8 weeks I'm producing 100 birds. Okay, 100 birds, you've calculated your potential profit. Go and rent one small shop in Kubwa, in Maitama, in Maraba, whatever, where you can deal with the customers directly.
One-on-one.
Don't make that mistake. Please come and buy my chicken. Then the middleman say, okay, oh yeah, madam, take it all. Because he knows your address where you have to sell. So start small. Don't always have the mentality of, I want to be a big man. Immediately, let's start making money. No. Start small, grow gradually. From 2 hectares of land where you are growing maize and soybean, God will bless you. You go to 10 hectares, you go to 20 hectares, 50 hectares, and then once you reach a peak, stay there. Don't make that mistake of, okay, fine. Now the maximum land I have access to is 50 hectares. Don't say, no, I want to be a big man by force. Then you start buying feed. I'm not saying buying feed is wrong. Don't get me wrong. But what I'm saying is to
you save money.
You save money, you make profit. There are people who do poultry business in this Abuja who buy cars, who have built houses, who send their kids to Canada, to US, doing poultry business. And you ask an average poultry person, there's no money in this business, I'm losing money. So poultry is one of them. Okay. Do I have permission to move to the next opportunity?
I have a question. Now, in your experience, what role does, what will I call it, financial education play in building and maintaining wealth in this tough?
Well, unfortunately, the black race, including me and you, we've not been taught in school that, financial literacy. They teach us physics, chemistry, biology, journalism, graduate, know
they
your
don't
job
teach
very
us how
well.
to manage money.
Exactly. So, and the onus is now on us to start learning by ourselves. We need to know A to Z of finance. You need to know the difference between a loan and your personal money, because loan you have to pay back. You need to know the difference between your income and your profit. You need to know the difference between your taxes and your contribution to the social insurance. So you need to know all this AB. So it is very, 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 very key. You need to know it. You need to have how to do even basic accounting. I'm not saying go and get an MBA in finance. No. Know that, okay, I received this, I pay this out in and out. All those old ledger that we used to use, in the 70s and 60s. You write in, I received this, I paid this. So in the end of the month,
you know how much you receive and how much
you tally it. And people make that mistake. Oh, so a visitor comes to your shop. Madam, good morning, ma. You put your hand in your company money and you buy him Coca-Cola or Fanta. You buy him rice, you buy him food, and you don't hide it to your cost. cost of, exactly. So they mix personal finance with business finance. They're two different things. You cannot get emotional. They are my in-laws now. So you took 10 chicken and you killed it for your in-laws. No, you don't do that. Business is business.
Indirectly, you have given them your profit.
That's your profit on the way. In their tummy.
In their tummy.
So one has to know all of that.
Okay, business is business.
Yes.
I have this question for common people on the street.
All right.
Some persons that don't really have capacity for business, like you mentioned earlier, but because everyone is into business, they want to do business. They'll venture into business, they'll fail.
Yes.
They'll try another one, they'll fail.
Exactly.
They'll keep trying and trying until they are tired of doing business and they'll give up.
That's true.
Based on your experience, I want you to talk to us around that.
Well, yes, you're right. Unfortunately, that's the reality on ground. People try their hands on many, many, many things. Yes, it's nothing wrong in being adventurous because you discover all these big brands that you see. Like I was watching a video, I don't remember which company now, one of these big brands that they started as a company selling furniture. And from furniture, then they became this big brand that people know today. So in business, you can change. It doesn't mean
you get to that
until you get to one place and know, this is my real goal. This is my calling. You see, so there's nothing wrong in me making mistakes, in fact. But in order to avoid those, how I call it, silly mistakes,
and waste
the time and your money, understand every business you want to do, A to Z. Know all the ins and outs of it. Don't do pure water business unless you know everything about pure water business. In fact, if you're confused, go and even do an internship. Go and work there for free in a pure water.
There must be a research.
Exactly. Do research. You want to do. Go and learn, study this business, know the tricks of it, know what people are doing to make money. People will tell you that it will surprise you. All these big companies, not all of them are making money. They are keeping them afloat just because of the reputation of the owner.
Yeah.
I don't want people to know that this company has closed. I just keep it. They're pumping their personal funds into these businesses. So we don't have to be like, so education will really help you to know that, okay, minimize those risks. And having said that, I want to talk quickly about what different categories of people can do. Let's say the youth now. Let's talk about the youth now. A young person is 21, 25, maybe still in college or you just finished college or you're about to finish. What can I do to be self-sustaining? Does that mean every time you go to daddy and mommy, daddy give me money, daddy give me money? No. I use myself as an example. When I was in University of Lagos, even my family members don't know this. I was a real estate agent in university. I was doing real estate in the university. It will shock you, Please, University of Lagos, please, I'm innocent. Just tell you this. Because in those days, only final year students have accommodation on campus, because you didn't have enough accommodation. So other people had to find their ways. So what I did back then is I would go and meet the final year students who live in Lagos. Hey, you live in Lagos, why do you need this government accommodation? See, come. Let's sell or let's let out your space to somebody who needs it from other cities. So I do that and I get my commission. That's how I paid for my books throughout my 4th and the 5th year. So don't wait for daddy to take care of everything. What do I mean by this? Thankfully, the tools you people have access to now, we didn't have access to it. What stops you from developing softwares while you're in college? I'm not saying go and get billions to start open Microsoft. No. You can sit down, create solutions that you can sell globally. You can sit in your accommodation in university, create a platform, a artificial intelligence platform, a software that people around the world can use. One simple one is what they call classifieds, a place where you post for sale things to, like in, I don't want to mention the brand now in Nigeria, where you can, if you have, maybe I want to sell this cup now. I'll take the photo, post it online. People will go there and see. So you can create a classifieds website. You can create financial payment platforms like Flutterwave and all those financial. All you need is your laptop and common sense. So what am I trying to say? You can come together as intelligent people, like Mark Zuckerberg did in college. Be creative. Use the tools God has given you. Now you have fast internet. Nowadays, internet, you will go and queue in the library, and then they will all those big computer and all those big Pentium.
That's if you have it there. It's not all schools.
You will click and you will wait. But now you have laptops, you have access to softwares, you have artificial intelligence. So please be creative. You can be the next Mark Zuckerberg of Africa. We always think locally. You see a young software engineering student, you tell you, Madam, I'm creating website. Forget all that old school silly things. You know, this is the elementary things that children of primary school do now. Look at a thing that the whole world needs, a service that if somebody in
what's
America will
vogue
pay
now,
you
yeah.
for. You know, a website or certain things that you can offer the world. And the second area I want to talk about quickly is for we the grown-ups now. Let us do what the Chinese people are doing.
Okay.
Let us own stakes or shares in foreign companies. Foreign companies.
I'm interested in this.
Exactly. You know what that will do? We'll be earning foreign, we'll be earning dollars and pounds. How does this work? It's simple. I'll use myself as an example. Imagine how three of us come together and say, you know what? We know that people who make clothing, t-shirts, sells a lot in America.
Yeah.
And how do we make t-shirts? Which place can we go to manufacture? Say, Sri Lanka. Oh, Bangladesh. So we put our monies together. We go to Bangladesh, set up a factory who makes t-shirts, and we supply to America. All the money comes to us. We'll bring it to Nigeria. Is that not what the foreigners are doing? One of my neighbors when I was in Sri Lanka was a British lady. Every 3 months she flies to Sri Lanka. You know what she does? She has a small garment factory of about 50 workers. She manufactures baby clothing. They will manufacture packages, she'll send it to the US and she'll make money and then she'll go back and spend that hard-earned money. Why are we not doing that? Who says we all cannot own a company in the US? What stops us? Because see, the world has become a global economy that there's no more barriers, there's no more American visa. People they get visa now.
Wow.
Why not?
Thank you.
What a lecture today.
So please let's think global. That's what I'm trying to say. Think global.
Thank you so much for
Honestly,
wonderful
honestly.
information. We appreciate your time.
As you were talking, I just remember there's always days of little beginnings.
Yes.
You don't just jump the gun
That's
and
true.
want to. So start from somewhere.
Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure always.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
That is our resource person engineer, Abayomi Onosonya. Yes, he has told us all we need to know about how to create wealth and keeping it in this tough economy. Expand your mind. Don't stay in one place. Respect your little beginning. Don't go to the top to start. Start from ground. Gradually, you grow to the top. Yes, we have learned a lot. I am a very great beneficiary, and I know you too have learned a lot from our discussion this morning. Now let's go on this quick break. When we come back, we have a lot on Good Morning Abuja. Don't go anywhere.